A new study of more than 11,000 children in the United States shows a link between sports and mental health. The findings are based in part on a child behavior checklist, a survey of parents asking whether their kids show any signs of depression, anxiety, or social withdrawal. Researchers then studied their answers in relation to their kids' participation in sports and found a positive correlation, but only for team sports, which is interesting. Here to talk about that is Dr. Sue Varma. She's a board-certified psychiatrist who works with children. Good morning. Always great to see you. I wanted to focus first on the upside, right? The kids who play team sports, they fare better. They're better adjusted than the kids who don't. Can you talk about the benefits of being on a team at a young age?
Absolutely. There's so many benefits of being on a team, and a sports team, particularly at a young age, because you gain a sense of community, a sense of cohesion, a sense of togetherness. Your social skills are better. You have to negotiate. You are relying on other people for your success. And when you don't do well, you also have a group of people to spread out the blame, so to speak, so that you're not taking all the individual responsibility for the wins and the losses. And we see that there's less depression, less anxiety, less social withdrawal in team sports, children that are playing them.
But this study isn't all positive, right? Researchers say kids in individual sports like wrestling or golf or tennis, they tend to be less mentally healthy than kids who don't participate in sports at all. What are some reasons for that?
Yes, and this was a little bit troubling for me to have to hear that, because I really do believe in the benefit of physical activity in general. And I think that it's unfortunate that this study didn't show that, but we have to be very careful to say that this is a correlation and not necessarily a causation. So we don't want to deter students from participating in sports with the idea that they're not going to do well mentally. But the study did show that individual sport participation, perhaps because there's more pressure, because you are the individual, you're the sole person responsible for both the success and the losses, and that if you don't do well, quote, a person feels like it's all my fault. And there's a lot of pressure, intense pressure. So we did see higher anxiety, depression, social withdrawal, and perhaps less of the benefits of social cohesion and social skills that we saw with the team sports. But again, I want to caution and say that this could be more of a correlation, and it's possible that people who already have this perhaps gravitate towards these kind of sports, or that they exacerbate it. We don't exactly know for sure.
It also, I would think, would depend on how competitive it is and how much pressure the parents are putting on their kids in these individual sports, especially. A lot has been said about the isolating effects of the pandemic on everyone, but especially on children. Do you think that these 2+ years of forced separation makes kids reluctant to get back into group activities like sports, or do you think they're eager now to socialize again? We had recent reporting on a study showing kids now, the majority of them want 100% in-person learning, for example.
Absolutely. I think it really depends on the age of the child, because I think if the child was at an age where they were still developing social skills, this is a whole new world for them, right? Because I know a lot of parents of, let's say, 2 to 5-year-olds to say that my kid missed out on key socializing opportunities. But honestly, really, children at every age felt it. And I think it also depends on the parents in terms of how open they are, how much they were able to integrate play dates safely outside the home, their own comfort level. But I think that everyone is at this point where they do want to be back in person as much as possible, obviously with safety precautions. And there's just a lot happening in the world. And I think it's really hard. Kids are having higher anxiety and depression rates due to any number of factors. Turn on the news, we've got plenty of reasons to contribute, unfortunately, negatively to their mental health. So team sports participation really does seem like a win across the board for children at this time.
When we talk about the state of mental health of kids in general in this country, of course, there is renewed attention on this issue because of the mass shootings in Uvalde and Buffalo. Suspects in both of those cases were 18. How would you assess overall the level of emotional distress among teens in America?
The level of emotional distress among teens is skyrocketing. Suicide rates have gone up. The emergency rooms are flooded because they don't have inpatient placement availability immediately. And, there's something would be very specific about the age of, 18 and 19 to 21, and which is why I think that, if the age was raised for when young people are allowed to purchase these type of weapons, it could be beneficial, because there's what we call first break episodes of psychosis, bipolar disorder, a lot of illnesses. But we want to keep in mind that people living with mental illness are more often to be victims. So I don't want the fingers to be pointed in that direction, but there is something about the age sensitivity where a person may start to show symptoms of withdrawing, of depression, of anxiety, and in very rare cases, violence. Very rarely, though. Less than 3 to 5% of the violent crimes are committed by those who are living with mental illness. I want to be very clear about that.
All right, Dr. Suvarma, always nice to see you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.